Hi Stampers! The first card that I'm going to show you is this thank you card, and it is made with a Free as a Bird stamp set. So I'll be using the birds, the leaves, and the thank you. All right, well, first of all, I did stamp thank you on the envelope, so don't forget to stamp your envelope. And then I'm going to show you how I did this. I took some vellum cardstock and some jet black StazOn. And I took the birds from this stamp set. I ink those up. And I will stamp those right on there. Okay, and the StazOn, if you haven't used it before, it's great for stamping on any material. It's great for cardstock. It's great for glass or metal. It goes on all kinds of different things. Okay, so I stamped it on this side. And then what I'm going to do is flip that over, and I am going to use some Stampin' Blends. I have my color lifter, I have the Calypso Coral in the light and the dark, I have the dark Crumb Cake, and the dark Mossy Meadow. I did also do the inside of the card, and I used the light Mossy Meadow for that. And I switched off, I used the light Calypso Coral and then the dark for just the shadowing, because that worked better on the light cardstock. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'll use the light Calypso Coral, and I'm just going to color these birds in. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm going to use the dark on the white cardstock. I was using the lighter on the inside. Otherwise, this is too hard to see. Okay, and what's neat about this is it is going to kind of have a watercolor look, just because it kind of builds up on this vellum a little bit, so it gives a really neat look. Okay, so I'll do that, and then I'm going to go back in with the light Calypso Coral, and these are the Stampin' Blends, and just kind of give it a little shadow, just like that. Okay, these lines on the birds, Stampin' Up! Actually did that on purpose. They are where you should do a little shadowing. Isn't that great that they tell us where some good shadowing would be? I'm going to use the dark Crumb Cake to color in the branch. Okay. And I'll use the dark Calypso Coral to color in these flowers. Okay. And the dark Mossy Meadow I'll use to color in the leaves. Okay. So let's get those colored in. And I'm going to use the color lifter to give those leaves a little bit of shadow. Okay, so I'll show you how I do that. I use my color lifter, and I can just give those a little shadow. If you can see, it just takes away just a little bit of the color on there. Another thing that you can do with the color lifter is if you make a mistake and it's kind of out a little bit. So if I was coloring in my birds and I accidentally went out of the lines a little bit, and I don't like how that's looking, I can actually use my color lifter to just pull that color out of there. And then mistake is gone. So that's a great thing about the Stampin' Blends. Stampin' Blends are alcohol-based markers. Okay, so I'm going to take that, and it's dry already. Right? And then when I flip it over, it'll be like that. Then what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to get one that I did a little earlier that I spent a little more time on. And I need to attach this to some pool party paper. Okay? And this one was 2 1/4 by 4 1/4, so each of these is just 1/4 inch bigger. If I just use my adhesive, it is going to be real obvious. So I'm going to use some mini glue dots, and I'll put these in the corner, and I'll try to get them as equal as I can into my different corners, because I'm going to be covering this up with sequins in just a little bit. So I will attach that to my pool party cardstock, just like that, and then I will attach that with my Stampin' Seal to choose some white cardstock. Okay. So I can use that to attach it to some Whisper white cardstock. There we go. We'll get these guys right side up. And then to cover up those little dots that you can see through the vellum, I am going to be using some of these Artistry Blooms adhesive back sequins. Comes in Calypso Coral, Coastal Cabana, Mango Melody, and Rich Razzleberry. And because I'm using Calypso Coral, I'm going to find the one that looks like Calypso Coral to me. These are really neat sequins because they don't have the little holes in them that you usually get with sequins. Use the Pick Me Up and take one of these sequins and just put it right on top, and that's going to cover up where the mini glue dot was that you used to hold that. So whenever you're using vellum, if you need to attach that to another piece of cardstock and you can't wrap it around, then you're going to want to find some way to cover that up, either with a ribbon or sequins like this or something. Okay, so I have that. I'm going to use my Stampin' Dimensionals so I can pop this out a little bit. Okay, I'll get this all set and then I'll get the card base ready. Okay, so I have my Calypso Coral. I cut that in half and now I'm gonna fold that in half with my bone folder. Okay, love the bone folder to get a nice crease there. Then I am going to want to add these leaves to the background, but I don't want it real dark. I just want a real subtle look. So I'll take my Versamark pad, and this will give a watermark look. And first thing I'm going to do is stamp my thank you actually in StazOn. Right? You can stamp it in any color, but I just happen to have my black StazOn out. Okay, so I'll stamp that, and then I know where I want to get those leaves put around. Okay, and when I stamp that with the Versamark, it is just going to give it a real tone-on-tone look. Okay, and I want that to kind of look like it's coming out of there. Just these leaves floating down. Okay, so I get the Versamark on there. Then I can attach this. I just take those backings off. It's pretty humid out here, so if you in Wisconsin, so you probably don't have too many problems with getting your backings off. You can always pinch the middle with your nail. Okay. Then I will stick that right on here. Okay, so I'm all set. I just have my inside to do, and I already colored this one in with the light and then the dark, and this is the dark and then the light. Okay, and it does give it kind of a watercolor look just because it was a little bit wet. Okay, so I will be attaching that to the center. Okay, so stamping with StazOn on vellum and then flipping it over to use the Stampin' Blends or any alcohol-based marker. Okay, then you can use your StazOn on this side. Okay, I hope you enjoyed the card.